What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars. Today we're taking a look at the 2019 comedy adventure Good Boys. Now, I didn't know what to think of this movie when I originally saw the trailers. It appeared to be a modern Superbad type film, and in a big way it kind of is. And that type of comedy is certainly geared towards a very select circle of people. I remember enjoying Superbad for what it was, but I didn't exactly find it incredible or instantly classic as I know some other people did. There are things in this type of film that can be seen as gimmicky more so than smart, like vulgar language. For some reason, I felt after watching the trailer to Good Boys that it would just be a ton of kids with potty mouths just to be kids with potty mouths. And thankfully, it's more than that. Good Boys focuses on a trio of 6th grade boys that call themselves the Beanbag Boys, and when they are invited to a kissing party without having any experiences with kissing, they band together to learn how to kiss. That is, until they lose a drone and come into contact with Molly, the drug, not the person. There is no person named Molly in this movie. They must figure out what to do about the expensive missing drone as well as the Molly before they go to the party. First and foremost, this is a comedy that will work for some and not work for others. That's usually the case in any given comedy, but especially a comedy like this because it deals with a number of kids running into things that most people would deem inappropriate. Honestly, I'd love to watch a highly conservative Christian watch this movie and lose their freaking minds because not only are kids cussing here and there, but they're running into drugs and other sexually deviant things that I don't think anyone wants a kid to run into. I'm a parent and I went from thinking
kids these days
to, oh God. I hope this is an exaggeration because when I was a kid, we had our moments that parents would frown upon, but it was a much more sheltered place for kids. Nowadays, it's a lot easier for kids to run into questionable things as this film submits, and it freaks me out to think that my kid may be running into some of these same things pretty soon. That being said, the spirit of this film is really where it works. The innocence of a child or a tween amidst a very adult world, and the contrast between the two works so well. When I was a kid, everyone always believed you got pregnant through kissing one another, and it's that level of logical or illogical thinking that you find in this film, but tenfold. These kids are filling in the blanks left and right when they run into something they don't fully understand, and it's that level of humor that I found delightfully hilarious. Like in the beginning of the film when the kids are taking sips out of a single beer bottle and one kid's like, oh, I remembered I'm auditioning for this musical and they drug test for beer and I can't take a sip. It's things like that which I found ridiculous but hilarious because we were all a little bit stupid when we were kids, and it really is funny to think back on. However, I'm not entirely sure who the target audience is supposed to be for this movie. This may be an exaggeration, but it's referencing modern day behavior of tweens, so I personally can't really connect with the kids. If it took place in the late 90s or early 2000s, I think I'd certainly be in that target audience, but being in the present, the only people that could connect with the characters would probably be today's tweens. The problem with that is that it doesn't feel like a tween movie. I mean, it's rated R and tweens aren't technically even allowed to go to R-rated films. So, like I said, I'm a little bit iffy on where the target audience and what its range is supposed to be. Also, the narrative in this film was a little bit wonky to me because it started off as a very clear-cut story goal of trying to get to the kissing party and learning how to kiss before you got there. But it turns into something else entirely, and that overall plot of trying to get to the party seemed to be ignored, tossed into the background for a majority of the movie, while these kids ran into other problems like cops, older girls, the drugs, the thing with the drone. It's all connected, of course, but it acts more like a snowball effect than a surefire plan or execution. Something bad happens, and the kids try to fix it, and then when they try to fix it, something worse happens, and so on and so forth. It's humorous, especially because it's kids trying to act like they know everything and are awesome, and they're not, and that makes things worse because of it, but from a narrative standpoint, it's not exactly what I would have done. But thankfully, the way that it is done does help it feel like a strong adventure. I don't know, I found this film to be surprisingly entertaining, especially because it's not exactly the type of comedy I'm usually a fan of. But for whatever reason, it works. I was especially a fan of these boys who really seem to have a ton of chemistry with one another. Whenever you have child actors, it's hard to get things perfect. You usually run into one or more child actors who are really struggling to pull off a believable performance, but everyone did do a very good job in their role in this film. Rating time, I gave Good Boys 81%, 81 out of 100 possible stars, granting it the letter grade of B-. Other comedies with the same letter grade in 2019 include The Art of Self-Defense, Isn't It Romantic, and Pokemon Detective Pikachu. These are all currently in the running for Best Comedy of the Year, by the way, so it's certainly a decent one. Guys, let me know what you thought about Good Boys in the comments down below. Did you find it funny or disturbing? Also, hit the subscribe button if you like what you saw and would like to see more like it. Hit the thumbs up button, as that always helps out my channel, and don't forget about the little bell icon, because that helps notify you when I come out with my next review. But until then, peace out!